About PayPal first and this victory of just kind of leveling the playing field. They do big business when it comes to lending, almost $30 billion, according to their files at this point, making money available only to minority businesses, essentially excluding white-owned businesses, and that doesn't seem very fair now, does it?
Not at all. And so they had a particular program, as you mentioned, in 2020 that provided $530 million for loans that were available only to these minority businesses at the exclusion of other minority and white businesses, as well as veterans and other categories. And so this is illegal under the Equal Credit Protection Act. And I have reason to believe, and I know, that many banks have been engaged in similar practices, offering lower rates to minority homeowners, and some states have programs like this. These are all illegal under our Constitution and under our federal laws. And so this is a great resolution with PayPal. They've agreed not only to stop this illegal conduct, which of course they can test whether it's illegal or not, but it definitely is in our view. And they've also agreed to provide $30 million worth of fee waivers on $1 billion worth of transactions for businesses that are either veteran-owned or certified by the Small Business Administration as being in the fields of farming, manufacturing, or technology. So this is a win-win for American consumers and the market at large. But we want to hear from consumers about other situations like this because we won't tolerate them in the United States.
You know, Harmeet, I think it's interesting because, as you said, PayPal may disagree whether or not their behavior was illegal, as we've also heard from the New York Times and some admissions programs as well. But what have you found is the reasoning that some of these businesses or institutions think it's okay to do this?
Well, there's two levels. First of all, the High Court has held in the past that in isolated circumstances where there's a pattern or practice of previous discrimination by a particular employer or business, short-term fixes like this could be appropriate. But PayPal doesn't have a history of discriminating against minorities. It's a fairly new Silicon Valley business. And so that basis wasn't there. More importantly, all these big companies in America are under severe pressure from organized left-wing groups and pension plans like the CalPERS and others like that to engage in race-based set-asides and minority contracting and these types of programs. And they're just reacting to the market, which is almost like a stick-up, like in order to get past or to be able to do business or sell your stock to a particular pension fund, you're going to have to check some boxes of what pandering you're doing to particular minorities at the expense of other Americans. Doesn't matter. It's still illegal. So I have sympathy for these companies, but it's a safe space for them right now. They can stop doing this, and we're going to help them.
Well, Harmeet, I just think generally you're looking for fairness across the board here in the United States, a country based on merit and not race and gender and whatever your ideology is to get you ahead in life.
That's right. And I mean, this is the American way. And it's crazy that we have to have the Department of Justice step in and enforce the basic premise of equality, not equity, which is equal outcomes, but equality, which is equal access. And that is what we're guaranteeing through this action, and I hope there are many more.
The EEOC has also filed an action in federal court in Missouri to compel Nike to produce information related to allegations that the company discriminated against white workers as part of its diversity, equity, and inclusion program. But a Nike spokesperson is responding to what they call a surprising and unusual escalation. Quote, here's what their statement says. We have had extensive good faith participation in an EEOC inquiry into our personnel practices, programs, and decisions, and have had ongoing efforts to provide information and engage constructively with the agency. We have shared thousands of pages of information and detailed written responses to the EEOC's inquiry and are in the process of providing additional information. What can you update us on with that particular situation with Nike?
Well, I mean, the EEOC is its own agency, of course. We work closely with them hand in hand. I'm not surprised that Nike is surprised because, in fact, these laws have not been properly enforced. And it is only recently that the United States Supreme Court has come out and said what I've been practicing as the law for many years, which is the law applies to all Americans, not just some Americans. And in Ames versus Ohio Department of Youth Services, the Supreme Court held that we don't have different standards for proving discrimination for minority versus majority applicants. And so this is a very important principle. And frankly, these companies have gotten away with pandering to the left and slow rolling their compliance with federal law. And now suddenly it's time to pay the piper. these examples of these types of prosecutions and these cases like we did with PayPal, like Nike, are hopefully going to have the side effect of encouraging other American companies to step up and do what's right. And by the way, I think most American employers don't want to have to play this paint-by-numbers business.
Sure,
they want to just
sure.
hire the best and brightest. We're freeing them to do that, which is going to be better for all Americans.
It almost seems like it is a situation where you almost have to retrain the thinking process of some of these businesses that just sort of fall into this extreme progressive mindset. And that's exactly what you're doing. Equality, not equity. Harmeet Dhillon, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us on American Agenda.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, stay with us. Taking a quick break right now. We'll be back.